The month of April is being called the Great Resignation based off of how many employees quit their jobs. Well, let's dive into that a little bit more and see what you can do to hold on to your top employees. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I am Neil Winteregg, joined as always by Dr. Greg Winteregg, CEO of Matterhorn Business Development. And today we are here to talk about, on this edition of the rare Newsroom, where we actually have something to talk about that isn't death and destruction. We have less death and destruction as we talk about an article that we found here today talking about the Great Resignation that is going on in American workers. What has been dubbed the Great Resignation, 4 million people, or 2.7% of U.S. workers quit their jobs in April. So that sounds pretty alarming.
That's alarming. 4 million people?
Yep.
2.7%. Now, 2.7% isn't quite as alarming, but still, what are these people?
It's a record going back to the year 2000. And there is apparently information floating around that 41% of workers globally are considering leaving their current employer. I think that's a crap number. But...
That's alarming.
Yeah, that's an alarming number.
So why are they leaving?
First off, there's no way to survey every worker worldwide to get a number that's going to actually tell you that. So it's very easy to find people who are disgruntled and ask them if they would like to leave. So why experts are floating around, why are people leaving? Number one, workers who didn't like their jobs but stuck it out during the pandemic are now not sticking with it anymore. Many are retiring early after cashing in on a booming stock market and rising home values. People have reevaluated their career paths after an unprecedented year, which allowed for more reflection. And in some vein, people might be looking for a job that allows for a better work-life balance. So,
well, what's interesting to me is in the last two, we're talking about a career path and we're talking about a job. Mm-hmm. So for me, those are two different functions as an employee. Are you there because this is your career, or are you there because this is your job?
Right.
So for me, what I always espouse to all of our clients is you're advertising for a career. Now, this would be like a skilled position within the company. Now, let's take, I don't know, an expediter of some kind, somebody who's going to be going from area to area within the company, helping out if there's a backlog. It's their first job. That person is probably not looking at your employment as a career.
Correct.
So for me, as a business owner, how do you prevent someone from leaving you? Well, if they are there and it's just their job, then you're exposed. And I remember my very first dental assistant, so this goes all the way back to 1981 when I first opened my practice. I opened it July the 15th, and she was great. We got along well. We joked about how we were going to retire together. She was probably, 10 years younger, or would have been more like 5 years younger than me. And then spring break, which would have been the following March, I come back from spring break and she quit. And I'm like, what? Why? Well, he gave me another 25 cents an hour. And I'm like, are you serious?
You couldn't have asked me for 25 cents an hour?
You know, so she was there. I thought she was there for a career, but she was actually there just for a job. Mm-hmm. Now, for me, this article is talking about two different categories of employee. You have people who are on a career path. They invested their money. Maybe they got their 401k. And they had their own side investments, maybe some rental property, and they hit 55, 60, and they've got everything all lined out. They're going to cash in and end their career. God bless them. But now if we've got an employee who's now disgruntled, they don't like the job, there aren't enough benefits, this thing and that thing, and they want to jump ship for 25 cents an hour or $2 an hour or...
Let them go.
And I don't often bring sports analogies into this, but the Tampa Bay Lightning have a really great hockey team. But we have some of our best players, Steven Stamkos, Hedman, Kucherov, who are playing for our team for less money because they knew this team had the potential to win Stanley Cups, and they are athletes and they want to be champions. And so it's not always about the benefit, the money, whatever. Is like, is this the career? Are you challenging this person? Are you paying for them to advance to their next level of training or apprenticeship or whatever? So for me, this article is kind of jumbling two different types of employees into the same thing.
Well, I also think what you're saying is correct. There's a career and there's a job.
Yeah.
I also think that 4 million people quitting is really a sign of, and one thing that this article does say from a broad picture is that with more people quitting, people are then quitting to fill better holes or better positions in a company. They're getting better opportunities, maybe to move up. That could be part of what is reflected here in the numbers, because it's okay, people are resigning. That doesn't mean that, they've all retired or they're all whatever. They could just be leaving one job to get the next best job, moving up the food chain, who knows?
Right.
But I also think that when we hear numbers like this, you have to understand that you can only control what's going on within your own company. You can't worry about what's going on in these other companies. And when we hear an article like this, especially, and I have to disagree with the way this article is written. This is from the Morning Brew. They're, they send out like daily and weekly business news. This thing that says a bunch of your coworkers are going to quit their jobs over the next few months if you don't leave before then. I don't like that type of an approach to an article, because I think that's crap to actually put that out there, because now you're putting the seed into somebody's brain that they're working at a bad company.
Good point.
And that they're working in a place that they shouldn't be working, because look what everybody else is doing. If you're going to be a sheep and you're going to leave because somebody else left their job and because this guy wrote an article that said people are leaving, okay, let them leave. That's part of the 4 million people that have left. Good employees are going to stick around, and if you take good care as a manager, you're going to attract more good employees. But to go back with what you were saying, there are certain jobs in every business and in every industry that are always going to be a rotation. The busboy, the paper shredder, the filer, whatever you want to call it, the menial task person, etc., etc. If that person is not showing signs of then evolving into something else, you're going to constantly be rotating anyway. That's part of these numbers too. So I agree with everything that you've said. I also just want to say that if you look at this article, which there will be a link down below, I disagree with starting an article off by saying that you are also going to leave your job. I think that's crap, and I think it's disingenuous. But that's me being grumpy.
Well, and I agree. And the 2.7% number, that's not an alarming number. 4 million sounds alarming, 2.7%.
And it is a record going back to the year 2000.
Right.
Which, yes, it is a thing.
Fair enough.
But we're pulling out of a whole unprecedented 18 months, and things are going to change. Yeah. And this is all part of that change.
But to your point, you can control this within the four walls of your business.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
Just have a great work environment, offer people incentives to advance, pay for extra training, extra certificates, whatever it might be. Give them a career and they'll stay.
Also, a couple of weeks ago, we did shoot a video called The Top Reasons Good Employees Leave Your Business. There will be a thing for that around here, down below in the description. But you should also check that out to kind of safeguard yourself from this type of stuff and make sure that you do hold on to your best employees. So I hope you learned something new here today. If you're new, give a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, tell us how stupid we are, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.